Sports Radio 95.7.
Back on the south side of Chicago, the A's entered the game tonight with a 10-game losing streak. The last time they had lost more than 10 in a row, you had to go back to September of 1995, which bled over to April of 1996, when the A's at that point had lost 12 consecutive games. It was the second night for Bob Melvin as the manager for the A's, and really the first, because with the difficult travel, with Bob being named the manager yesterday, very hectic, not really a chance to get into the regular, what would be the day in and day out routine of a manager preparing for a ball game. Plus, the A's didn't even hit on the field yesterday. As it turns out, it was more of a regular day for the Athletics, and as this game was going on, unfortunately, it was looking more like what has become regular for the A's, which was losing baseball. But we'll see how it turns out tonight. The A's facing Edwin Jackson in the first inning. Cliff Pennington in a second consecutive game now in the 2 spot for the Athletics, and he seems to like that role quite a bit. Doubled with 1 out against Jackson, then 1 out later. Josh Willingham's at the plate, and the A's are on the board.
Here's the 1-0 pitch to Willingham by Jackson. A ground ball into left field for a base hit. So Willingham, a solid shot through the left side hole. Pennington scores for third, and the Athletics take a 1-0 lead.
For Josh, his 40th RBI of the year moves him into the league's top 10, tied with Jeff Francoeur for that spot in the American League. Graham Godfrey, who was 7-1 with a league-leading .250 ERA out of the Pacific Coast League, was pitching tonight for the A's, and so far so good in terms of getting Juan Pierre on a bunt to start the game, then Alexi Ramirez on a fly ball to center. But he walked Carlos Quentin, and then up came Paul Konerko, and he stepped into the history books tonight for Chicago.
Quentin leads at first, Barton holding on the bag, and a high, deep drive, left center field. Crisp is back to the track. He is going to watch it fly, and a 2-run home run for Paul Konerko. And that quickly, the White Sox take a 2-1 lead. His 16th home run this year, and lifetime number 381. Up into the seats in left center.
There's an 11-game hitting streak now for Konerko. More importantly, it was the 9th consecutive game with an extra base hit for Konerko. That is a new White Sox record. He was sharing that mark with Al Simmons, the Hall of Famer, and former Philadelphia A at 8 in a row. So Konerko gets that record all to himself. On to the third inning after Jackson had a 1-2-3 second. Jemiah Weeks joined the ball club in Baltimore. He has some exciting moments so far this year for the A's, and he decided to add one of those to the list, leading off the third against Jackson. Jackson with the deliberate motion, the hands over the cap of the pitch. It's hit towards center field and hit well. In fact, Rios turns both ways. It's over his head. It's going to land on the track up against the wall, and Weeks is scooting. He's around second. He's on his way to third. Here comes the relay. The head first slide, and he's in with a triple. Jemiah Weeks hits one over Alex Rios' head, and he gets all the way to third base as he beat the throw from Alexi Ramirez on the relay. For Weeks, he had 2 hits tonight. It was his second triple already for the Athletics in a week of baseball. In fact, less than a week since joining the team in Baltimore. 1 out later, he would score on an infield hit by Cliff Pennington, and the A's at that point had tied the game at 2. And it would stay that way until the 5th inning, but Graham Godfrey was knocked out of the contest. He had 1-1-2-3 inning, and that was the 4th. But then the 5th, a leadoff double by Ramirez to left field. Quentin with a base hit on the infield, put runners at first and third. Then Konerko a fly ball to left, Przinski with a base hit, and suddenly that was it for Godfrey after a run came home for Chicago. They made it 3-2. Michael Wirtz came on in relief. Rios a ground ball to short. Another run was home, made it 4-2, and then Adam Dunn drove in what proved to be the final run tonight for the Pale Hose.
Wirtz's 1-1 pitch. Here it is, and Dunn hits a line drive into right field. That's going to be a base hit. Przinski scores in third. Dunn singles to right, and it's 5-2 Chicago. Even with Weeks with a shift playing in short right field going to his left, he couldn't flag it down. And Dunn singles, a 3-run bottom of the 5th, and 5-2 White Sox.
26th RBI for Adam Dunn. So the A's are down 5-2. They're already in the throes of a 10-game losing streak and trying to find a way to play some winning baseball as this game went on. As it turns out, in the 7th inning, a leadoff base hit by Coco Crisp off of the reliever Chris Sale. After Edwin Jackson went 6, allowed 2 runs on 8 base hits, and then Cliff Pennington, continuing to prosper, stepped in again in that 2 spot for the A's in the 7th. Sale's 2-1 offer. Fastball hit toward left center field. That one will get down for a hit. Turning at second on his way to third is Crisp. Racing to second base is Pennington. Head first slide. He beats the throw in by Rios, and the A's are knocking on the door with runners at second and third and nobody out as Cliff gets his third hit tonight at the 2 spot. It's a double, his 6th of the year. Ends up with 3 hits on the night for the Athletics. Connor Jackson came off the bench, pinch hitting for Ryan Sweeney with the left-hander on the mound. He offered at the first pitch, hit it weakly on the right side, but it did bring in a run as Crisp scored to make it a 5-3 ball game. But the A's could not get Pennington home from third base as Willingham a fly ball to right, and then Matsui a strikeout swinging against Sale. In the 8th inning for the A's, a leadoff base hit by Barton against Sale, and he was brought out of the game. Brian Bruni was brought in relief. He struck out Suzuki, but then Sizemore walked, and Bruni was lifted. So the A's had 2 on with 1 out of the 8th inning, facing now Matt Thornton, who had his share of troubles. He was the closer. He lost that job early, now trying to be the setup man for Chicago, but he got both Jemiah Weeks and Coco Crisp each on 1 pitch, and they preserved a 5-3 advantage. Meanwhile, the A's bullpen, after Michael Wirtz went to Joey Devine, he worked in the 7th inning, 2 men on, but he escaped that without allowing a run. Grant Balfour worked the bottom of the 8th inning, had a 1-2-3 frame, and then on to the 9th with the new closer for Chicago, Sergio Santos, who only twice this year coming into the game had even allowed runs while he was on the mound, and this was his 25th appearance of the year. So 22 out of 24, Santos was unscored upon, and in fact, at the beginning of the year, he began the season with 20 consecutive scoreless innings, and it looked like it was going to continue tonight. He struck out Cliff Pennington to start the 9th inning. Then Jackson, a fly ball to center. 2 outs and nobody on. The A's down to 1 final strike with Willingham up, staring at an 11-game losing streak. He ends up walking against Santos. Hideki Matsui at the plate now after Willingham moved to second on indifference. He was down to a final strike as well. And this is how the A's continue their comeback tonight in Chicago. Straight up. Awaiting the 1-2 pitch from Sergio Santos. Here it is. Swung on line to center field. That's going to drop in front of Rios. Around third is Willingham, and he'll score to make it a 1-run game. So Matsui fights off the pitch from Santos, muscles at the center field. His first RBI tonight, his 3rd in the series, his 23rd overall, and the White Sox lead is now 5-4. The A's showing some signs of life, but the reality was it was still 2 outs and a runner at first base, and DeJesus came off the bench for the A's, and he was pinch running for Matsui, and then Konerko certainly was going to hold him on in that situation. Derek Barton came up facing Santos. He walked on a 3-1 pitch. Then Suzuki stood in, and the A's were down to their final strike again at 2 balls and 2 strikes, and Santos hit it with a changeup on his left arm. That loaded the bases for the Athletics, still down by a run, and the young Scott Sizemore at the plate trying to show his wares to the A's, and this is how he welcomes himself to the A's clubhouse with maybe the biggest hit of 2011. And we'll see what Scott Sizemore can do here. The big set by Santos. His 1-0 pitch. Fastball belted left center field. Way back in the alley. Rios on the run. He can't get it. It's off the bottom of the wall. It's going to clear the bases. DeJesus, Barton, Suzuki all home. Scott Sizemore has lifted the A's a 4-run 9th inning, and Oakland leads it 7-5. Euphoria in the A's dugout. A fastball on the inner half, and Sizemore killed it. It was his 2nd double this year, and as an Oakland Athletic, he picks up the RBIs for the Athletics, and for Scott, for the A's, it was his first extra base hit and his first, 2nd, and 3rd RBIs in the green and gold. It was an amazing moment to see it happen. It was amazing to see the A's clubhouse, or rather the A's dugout, come to life as they felt the weight of a 10-game losing streak coming off of their shoulders. And then Jemiah Weeks stepped in. He walked. That was it for Santos. They brought on the new reliever, Lucas Harrell. He struck out Coco Crisp, but the A's had a 2-run lead going to the bottom of the 9th inning. Haven't been able to say that in a very long time. Andrew Bailey, who tried to save a game for the A's Saturday against the Red Sox in Boston, failed in that situation with back-to-back two-out doubles, only to see the A's eventually lose that game in 14. Retires Juan Pierre on a ground ball to first, gets Ramirez on a line drive to left field, and then Carlos Quentin standing in the way of the A's saying goodbye to their longest losing streak in a long time. Chris playing to pull, outfield, maybe a step or two deep. Cornermen off the lines at first and third. The 2-1 pitch. High fly ball, right center field. Over forward is Jackson and Crisp. Connor Jackson squeezes it, and the 10-game losing streak is over. A tremendous comeback by the A's. 4 runs at the top of the 9th inning. And Andrew Bailey, the two-time All-Star, gets his first save of 2011. It's a 1-2-3 9th, and the A's are victorious by the final of 7-5. As it turns out, the A's' Graham Godfrey was challenged with a historic opportunity to win a game to snap a losing streak in his major league debut as a starting pitcher for the first time since 1902. He didn't get that done, but what the A's have done tonight has not happened since 1900, snapping at least a 10-game losing streak. Down in the 9th inning with 2 outs and nobody on base, and coming back to win the contest, David Feldman with that great note tonight as the A's win it by the final of 7-5. When we come back, we'll hear, courtesy of Comcast, some comments from the winning manager, Bob Melvin. Also get to the scoreboard as we return after this.